Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to this exclusive interview brought to you by Torwars.com. My name is Jeff Hollis, and I am here with this gentleman, Gabe Amatangelo. Gabe, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing well.
Yeah. Today's a big day. We're here at the Fan Site Summit. There's a lot going on. What's the most enjoyable part of this for you?
Talking about PvP, of course. Being able to talk about some stuff we haven't been able to previously talk about, and new announcements.
There's a lot of new information coming out, and you are the god of PvP here at BioWare. Is that true?
Well, you had to top the last one, right? I'm the god of PvP. I'm the lead PvP designer, and I have a team of gods of PvP.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like a little Mount Olympus around here.
All right.
That's good stuff. Now, Gabe, could you tell us something that we haven't heard before, something that maybe not everybody knows about PvP in Tor?
Sure. So we have a big sort of topic inside of PvP combat and MMOs is crowd control.
Right.
So one of the things we're talking about today is the resolve system. Because much like we talked about a few months ago, we want to translate all these different PvP systems like banners, flags, points into kind of visceral, immersive gameplay mechanics. Another important mechanic in PvP is crowd control and people's kind of diminishing returns to it. Well, players are going to find when they're in PvP, they're going to have a resolve bar. Every time they're hit with a crowd control ability, the resolve is going to build. And then once they have maxed out their resolve, they're now immune to PvP as the resolve bar goes down. So people are going to be able to make kind of like educated decisions as to who they're targeting with their CC, etc. They'll be able to see and not have to hunt for little icons or, sort of just know the intricacies of the system. They'll be able to visually respond to what's going on and how to use their crowd control. And we felt that was important. We felt that was important because, the Force is moving objects, and it's a lot of force and stuff like that, so we wanted to have a good system that was able to bring that kind of theme into PvP and everyone have fun with it instead of getting sort of frustrated with it.
Extremely innovative, considering crowd control has been the bane of a lot of PvP systems in the past. Another bane of PvP systems in the past is the idea of a Terminator character. If you're, for example, in another large MMO, if you're a necromancer, you can't stand rogues. Rogues own you every time. How are you guys going to approach that?
So I think you're asking as far as the kind of paper, rock, scissors type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
One person annihilating another. Well, so just philosophically, the way we approached it is that we want players to be able to, we're not having like the spike kind of damage where it's like suddenly you're dead and then that's it. Like people are going to be able to respond. It's going to be more of a sort of a tactical kind of feel when you're in the middle of a skirmish. So that the health pools will last a little bit longer, but at the same time, there is going to be moves, counter moves, that kind of stuff. And hopefully, team mechanics, when people work together and we incentivize the team mechanics, so you can respond as if someone else comes versus another class that comes and kind of just figure out the chess game, if you will, between abilities. But ultimately, it's just the nature of the beast. Some classes are going to tend to have, they're not going to be completely over-dominating, but they're going to tend to have a slight edge over other classes. It's just the nature of the beast. And I think that's okay as long as you don't make it that it's just like a snapshot, like bam, suddenly they're dead and that's it. There's nothing they can do. But if they have something on cooldown, a way to get out of it, that kind of stuff, a way to play the environment, etc., we pay mind and attention to those elements and try to emphasize them as much as possible within the gameplay areas, particularly inside the war zones. Sorry, that was quite a long.
No, I liked it. No one wants to hear me talk, bro, so that was good stuff.
Right
all good. All right, now, in some of the battlegrounds we've seen so far, we've seen some classic styles of PvP play, usually from multiplayer games, but certainly not from MMOs. And I'm talking about like a domination style. You control 2 of the 3 points, your team is going to win. Do you understand what I'm referring to? If
sure,
you control,
yeah.
What other styles are we going to see in other battlegrounds? Will it only be that, or will there be different styles?
You'll see other styles. Today we've talked about, and what we're talking about today is the Alderaan Civil War and the Void Star Warzone. The Alderaan Civil War, you get control of the turrets, you turn them on the enemy ships, and you see that ship go down once you've hit it enough. Ultimately, that is, dominating those turrets and keeping those turrets. In the Void Star, it's going to be sort of like a conquest assault type mode where you're grabbing objectives and progressively going through this sort of stealth prototype ship. So you're going from room to room, blowing down doors, extending bridges, overriding security terminals. Each of those elements, they're immersive, they're part of the ship, but they are objectives. And once you have one, you move to the next. So that's another mode. But yeah, we're gonna stay tuned. You'll hear about more modes coming up in future announcements.
One last question. At launch, are people going to be able to PvP themselves all the way through the game? Because there's another famous EA MMO in which you can do that if you want to. Is that a possibility, or is it something you're going to have to pick up later on?
So you get experience for player versus player combat, and you can continue to do that and continue to get experience and go all the way up. I think what most players are going to do is a combination thereof, and we incentivize a combination thereof. You're going to have to do the story quest to get from one planet to the next, but you can do PvP beyond that.
So only the story is mandatory, and the rest could be all PvP.
Well, I'm sorry, story quests. They're all story quests, the class-specific quests, as opposed to the world quest. You do your class quest going through, and then you can do PvP beyond that.
All right, folks. Once again, this is Jeff Hollis for Torwars.com, and I'm here with Gabe Amatangelo. Gabe, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.